I have always been fascinated by the ocean. They say we know more about outer space than we do about the deep ocean. One of the most fascinating things I discovered while diving in the Philippines was the amount of life that was around me that I didn't even know was there until I took a much closer look. What I found was that almost every sea creature I saw had some form of camouflage. One type of camouflage is concealing coloration, where the animal blends into the background to hide from predators. Much like this pygmy seahorse disguised as a coral, it can be tough to spot. Another great example is the spotwing flying gurnard, which glides the ocean floor with a brown spotted coloration to blend into the sand below. Another tough to spot creature is this emperor shrimp. A fully grown emperor shrimp is around 2 centimeters long. They spend their life hitchhiking on the backs of sea cucumbers, like this one, or sea slugs, which provide not only sanctuary from predators, but also a constant supply of food from microscopic materials that are churned up by their carriers. One of the most successful camouflage creatures is this. Can you see it? It is the stargazer. Not only do they have the same coloration as the sand, but they go the extra length to bury themselves under the sand with only their eyes and mouth staring up at the stars, hence the name stargazer. They use their worm-like tongue to attract small fish to their mouth before ambushing them and swallowing them whole. Disguise is another form of camouflage used by many creatures. Much like this orangutan crab, disguised as a seaweed flowing in the current, or this box crab trying to disguise itself as a coconut walking across the ocean floor. But one type of camouflage that is often overlooked is disruptive coloration. Often in the form of spots or stripes, this form of camouflage is used to confuse predators or prey by breaking up their vision and making them harder to identify. The yellow-lipped sea krait is a prime example of disruptive coloration. It hunts eels and small fish and spends the majority of its time in the water, swimming with its paddle-like tail. This snake is 10 times more venomous than a rattlesnake. Thankfully, it's a shy species and prefers to avoid people and only attacks defensively. Sea kraits can spend up to 2 hours underwater. However, it does need to swim to the surface for air sometimes and does have an affinity for land when it's time for resting and reproducing, which means humans do run across these dangerous snakes occasionally. The final form of camouflage is mimicry, where some species mimic a larger or more dangerous animal in order to deter predators. One animal that uses this in spades is the nudibranch, or the sea slug. Nudibranch comes from the Latin word nudus and the Greek word branchia, meaning naked and gills, respectively. This makes sense because the little flower-type protrusions on the back of the nudibranch are exposed or naked gills. There are over 3,000 species of nudibranchs, from very shallow to depths of 2,500 meters. Some nudibranchs are poisonous, while others pretend to be poisonous, which is evident by their vibrant colors. They feed on stinging cells of hydrozoids and store them in the rear of their body for protection. They can also ingest toxins from sponges and become toxic and inedible. Some nudibranchs even produce their own chemicals. Baby frogfish, like this one, have taken advantage of this and mimic nudibranchs when they are small and vulnerable to avoid being eaten. The two horns of a nudibranch on top of the head are actually called rhinophores. These are basically chemical receptors that allow the nudibranch to find food and mate. Having these two horns sticking out of their body makes nudibranchs more visible to predators, so they have the ability to withdraw them, much like slugs, into their bodies when in danger. If you look closely, they are almost feather-shaped, which increases their surface area, giving them a greater ability to detect chemicals. Nudibranchs are also hermaphrodites. Each one is simultaneously a male and a female. They possess reproductive organs of both sexes. While mating, they fertilize each other, although a nudibranch cannot fertilize itself. They then both lay eggs in a beautiful spiral shape, like this. As you can see, camouflage in its many different forms is a vital part of living in the ocean. I now challenge you to embrace the wonders of the ocean and try to find your own hidden wonders.